It's late o'clock on Monday, January 22nd. This is the night before the SHOT Show exhibit starts. Earlier today was the regular SHOT Show range day. So I figured I can sit and talk about that a little bit. It so happens I had a couple of people with me taking pictures. So my recollections are not going to be as streamlined as they normally are. Normally I take a lot of pictures just to remind me of stuff. This time I had a couple other people with me to take pictures, but I don't have their pictures yet. So there will be some stuff I forget. But I'm sure I can hit the highlights. Okay. I also creatively brought with me the map with the exhibitors from the range day in order to help me out. My original plan today was to do this a little bit earlier, but we make plans and then life happens. So here we are. So let's see. What did I find that was interesting? There were several things that I thought were quite clever. There were a few booths I didn't make it to. It was supposed to rain the whole day, but in the morning it was, cold and windy, but not too rainy, so it was okay. By the time we got to the afternoon, it started raining pretty nicely, so we bailed out around 4 o'clock. But I think I got most of potentially the most interesting stuff. Some things I skipped intentionally. CZ had a very long line, so I didn't terribly care. Right, I see there are a couple of people here. If you can hear me, please put something in the chat box so that I know for a fact that I'm not talking to myself. After a day this long, if I spent another hour talking to myself, it would just be depressing. A couple others I didn't go to, like Leapers with the Integrix scopes were there. It's like the third year of them. I didn't look. I'll go take a glance during SHOT Show, but otherwise, how many years am I supposed to look at the same scope that's not available? Black Rain Ordnance is listed here. I didn't see them. Well, excellent. Thank you guys. So a couple of people posted. You can hear me. It's very good. And I've got somebody named Rammers and Twangers from UK. Don't think I've seen that name before. Well, thank you for joining me. So there were a few here and there, some where just nothing was happening. Know that, but a few interesting things. And let's start with the ones that are near and dear to my heart. And I'm, in the grand scheme of things, primarily a rifle guy. Well, handguns too, but primarily a rifle guy. For the first time since I'm aware, Q was actually present at SHOT Show Range Day. I think they occupied half of the Reptilia booth. So I got to shoot the latest iteration of the boombox. Boombox is essentially a short, small frame AR-10 variant, chambered for 8.6 blackout. It is essentially Mr. Openozo's Pacific Northwest, so West Coast. So for you, you're on the same time zone as I am. I'm in Las Vegas, so it's 10:40 in the evening. I'm afraid for the East Coast people, it's probably a little bit late, well past midnight. But anyhow, so my plan is to try to do these every evening tomorrow. Might be even later, but I'll do it anyway just to get my impressions, record it, and so that I can expand from there. But anyhow, so the boombox by Q, let me see if I can show you. I can show you a picture. I have that. And I am waiting for this thing. I have to admit, rather impatiently, because I shoot a lot of guns from Q, and I am a big fan in many ways. And one of the reasons is that they work. And another reason is that, let me see, yesterday I figured out how to do this properly. There we go. So this is the boombox. So why is it so special? It looks just like a regular AR. So there's a shortish barrel, there's a suppressor, looks like another short AR. Well, not quite so simple. It is very, very handy. It is very, very lightweight. It's 5 poundish or thereabouts. It is chambered for the 8.6 blackouts and mostly shot subsonics. The gun is incredibly well behaved, none of the weird twisting and stuff like that you often get with large frame ARs. Nothing here. The handguard, style-wise, is a little bit more like the handguard in the fix than a traditional AR-10 handguard, with the attachment methods kind of like in the fix, which is stiffer and more robust. This particular handguard is not M-LOK, it's Q-Cert. I don't know what other options they'll have. For the fix, they have both M-LOK and Q-Cert options. In terms of how strong the connection is, Q-Cert, I think, is better than M-LOK, so I like it. There are not as many accessories, but the stuff that I care about is available. The top Picatinny rail is monolithic. There is no separate rail in a handguard versus receiver. And the way the handguard is secured to the receiver, as I said, is very different. So this is going to be a very nice, cohesive, and robust shooting platform. Nice trigger. Q makes their own trigger. I've tried it before. It's the first time I shot with it. It's a very, very nice trigger. Overall, it's a kick-ass gun. So for me, in my use, 8.6 Blackout is slowly but surely, pushing out everything I used to do with 300 Blackout. I have a couple of 300 Blackout guns. I have a Honey Badger and I have a Mini Fix. My Mini Fix, I'm going to redo into 6 arc. Q is about to come out with barrels and bolts in 6 arc in association with another company. My home defense gun right now is a Honey Badger, shoots subsonic only, and my plan longer term is basically to replace it with one of these with the boombox and switch to basically 8.6 Blackout in lieu of everything I currently do with the 300 Blackout. Okay, let's see, what is this? All right, so this is another extremely interesting thing that I shot today. This, I believe, if I look at the right picture, is the PWS UXR. Yeah, that's what it is. This is a new rifle. So Primary Weapon Systems has been purchased 2-3 years ago by Lone Wolf, and PWS is doing their engineering, and Lone Wolf is helping with the manufacturing and all that, something they're very, very good at. This is a new rifle. And it's another, I chatted a little bit with their marketing. They should have a loaner for me, maybe February, March. That would be very interesting to play with. The interesting thing about this guy is that it's kind of a very interesting gas system. The serialized part is the top receiver, the bottom receiver and all that change a little bit. The magazine well is replaceable. You can reconfigure the same basic gun to shoot 223, 300 Blackout, 308, potentially 8.6 Blackout, and a few other things. The stock folds, have a 2-position adjustable cheek piece, adjustable length of pull. The grip is standard AR grips. In the configuration as you see it without the optic, it's a thing about 6.7 pounds, something like that. So it's reasonable. The handguards prove to be pretty comfortable. The recoil impulse is interesting in that it's pretty soft, actually. So I liked it. I thought it was a very pleasant gun to shoot. A very little muzzle rise, although it's just equipped with a linear comp, nothing crazy. Recoil, in terms of recoil reduction, the gas block has adjustable positions, so you could switch between subsonic and supersonic and things like that. Interesting design, interesting idea. And the way the gas system is done looks like a fairly clever idea. I have things to do in Florida. So mid-second half of February. That's actually interesting. I wonder if they can get me a loaner by then. I'm going to go take a class with a friend of mine, Gary Jewell. Teaches classes there around the Space Coast of Florida. I've taken a class with him before. He's a good instructor, explains things well. I really like the way he teaches it. He's got a carbine class in February, and I need to be around there for work at the same time. Maybe I can arrange it. I need to see if I can get my hands on the UXR in time. I'll pop an optic on it and take it with me to Florida, go take a class in it. There's no better way to figure out how well an optics works other than just putting some rounds through it. So that would be a lot of fun. I don't know if I can pull it off, but I'll try it. I liked what I saw. I mean, everything worked, but the fact that everything worked in one gun itself does not mean a whole lot. But somehow it looked and felt like a pretty cohesive package, which is a nice thing. And like I said, in other words, I think it's very promising. This was another incredibly interesting thing for me. I walked into the Walter booth, and my basic original thing that I wanted to find out was just to see how many Walter guns went down. In the last couple of range days, I go and walk. Every time I walk into Walter booth, something breaks. In this case, I didn't even make it to the handguns, and all to be fair, the ones I looked at were all firing just fine. This Walter's sister company, Hammerly, from Switzerland, is introducing a straight pull toggle action, like a biathlon style action, 22 with quick replaceable barrels. It's just a collar, and then you pull on it and pull the barrel out. The stock has a 2-position cheek piece, an adjustable length of pull. Looks to be fairly stiff. Nice trigger. The gun was a joy to shoot. Everything worked, and it's going to be like, gosh, $650, something like that. I want one. I am going to do a test of one. I liked it a ton. I like the biathlon action guns. I like 22s. Because it's a easily replaceable barrel system, they plan to make it available first with the 22 long rifle, which is what I shot, and then with the 22 Win Mag, which is very, very interesting for me. And the replacing, switching between one another will be just a barrel and a magazine. The magazine, is large enough to fit a Win Mag magazine, and to use a regular Ruger 1022 rotary 22 long rifle magazine, they have a spacer. But everything worked flawlessly. There were no jams. Trigger was nice, and the gun showed good accuracy potential. So it would be very interesting. All right, Mr. Royrat. I would love to go to shot range someday. I went to shot in 2016. It was like being in firearm heaven. That is true. All that year, the AR system was king, and it became a little boring. You spend enough time at SHOT Show, you'll see a lot of things that are very similar and repetitive and all that. But, I've been coming here every year for... the first SHOT Show I went to was still in Florida, in Orlando. It was the year before they moved to Texas. I don't know. So what year was it? I don't know. So at least 15 years, maybe. Okay, there you go. I found the locations for SHOT Show. So the first SHOT Show was in Orlando in 2009. So this 2024. This is my 15th SHOT Show. And for the next few years, it's projected to stay in Las Vegas. I always enjoyed, some booths do get a little repetitive. How many flavors of basic AR can you get, right? But there's always something I did not expect, or sometimes I'll look at the press release of a particular product and think, okay, this sounds like horseshit, or this sounds just a bunch of marketing speak. But then I, go and get my hands on the product and go, oh, despite the marketing bullshit, this is something, right? So, but the biggest reason I go to SHOT Show is people. These are the same people who, like me, have been coming here for years. We see each other once a year. We exchange emails, occasionally talk on the phone, but seeing them face to face, honestly, is worth everything. There's no replacement for direct face to face human interaction. Nothing we do electronically fully replaces that. Okay, so this is the Hammerly straight pull. Extremely promising. I checked it with their marketing. They probably in the next couple of months, by the end of Q1, something like that, we'll have a few marketing units in the US, and I'll be able to borrow one to go play with it. Just with the feel of the toggle action and all that, I think the people at Volkswagen should be concerned. They have a straight pull action called the Summit. I don't know if this is better, but for people like me who like switch barrel, replaceable barrel stuff, it probably is. But it's half the price of Volkswagen, and very clever and comes from a very respected name in the rimfire, Hammerly. Okay, this I loved. This absolutely kicked ass. That's in the Winchester booth. They have a new lever gun 22. I like 22, so you'll see me talk about them. Nice trigger, very nice lever action. Traditional semi-buckhorn sights, the sights that we used to call the deer safety devices to make sure not too many deer are killed. But the receiver is grooved for an optic. If you can light and trim, price under $400. We had a couple of people with me with all shot with the all agreed, boy, is this thing fun. And it is. It's super entertaining blinker for under $400. Metal to wood fit was good. Finish was good. Action was smooth. Traditional loading through the tube. I gotta say, I liked it. I was pretty impressed. I generally have I generally have a soft spot in my heart for lever guns. A carbon-based light. Did you see the Henry HO23 lever action 223? No exposed hammer. Tank safety, AR max, ready 300 blackout, and AR style bolt. I did not shoot it. Are you talking about the? What was it that I saw? I'm not sure. Are you talking about the long ranger or? No, you're talking about hammerless. That's not the long ranger. No, maybe I didn't see it. I am not 100% sure. Maybe I missed that one. Well, SHOT Show starts tomorrow, so I'll be able to go look. But no, there was a lot of new-ish lever guns. With Henry, I saw they have a new 9mm carbine, which looked just like any other 9mm carbine. I don't think I saw the rifle you're talking about. I'll stop by their booth at SHOT Show and see if they have that. What you're describing sounds more like not the long range, brand new. Henry HO23, let me see. I don't think I saw it. If I saw it, it's completely flew under the radar. Lever action Supreme rifle. There was generally a lot of stuff in lever action. Okay, yeah, some magazine fed lever action. I did not see it. Walked right by it, probably. So I'll need to go check out their booth tomorrow. So Henry's on my list anyway. Let's see. Okay. What is this? I like the gun on the left. I'm trying to remember the name. As it gets later and I get older, I think it's harder. Kimber. Yeah, that's the new Kimber. So Kimber had this KDS 9C, kind of a compactish version of the new single action only gun they have, but no grip safety, which I like. Grip shaped a little bit differently. These guys shot very, very well. On the right, they have some sort of newish compact they have with a red dot, and that just looked like a Glock, except more rough execution. But the metal gun on the left, I liked. And that was a reasonably nice recoil impulse, not doing anything crazy, nice trigger. Didn't have any misfires. You would not expect to have too many misfires, but during a range day, God knows how much ammo they put through these guns, so it's not uncommon to see something go down. All this stuff did not. Didn't see anything particularly interesting with the Kimber on the rifle side, but on the handgun side, these KD9, that's the new development. That's That's the small. That's the small gun. Okay. Now we're looking at Savage. Savage, they announced it a little while back, so you guys probably have all heard of it. The SHTO is on their IG. So let me look at this link and see if I saw it or not. I don't think I saw it. Yeah, I see it, yeah. I did not see it today. I'll take a look tomorrow. Looks very much like the, well, some parts of it look like Bond Arms lever gun. They were generally lever guns from people you would not expect. Oh, I'll get to that in a moment. The whole lever gun thing is really picking up, which I kind of enjoy since I like lever guns. Where was I? Yeah, Savage. So Savage has a couple of different lighter version guns. They have a very, very lightweight mountain gun based on the 110 action, and it sits in the MDT Hunt 26 chassis. HNT 26, Hunter 26, something like that. Excuse me. Lightweight, accurate. I shot that in 6.5 Creed. Seemed like a nice gun, but it's really interesting. I'm so not used anymore to bolt action guns with such a tall bolt lift, so I kept on jamming my thumb between the bolt and the scope. So used to the fix with the 45-degree bolt lift that Savage 110, kind of, I felt acutely that the way I manipulate the bolt is not ideal for such a high bolt lift. The gun that I found somewhat slightly more interesting is what's really in the picture. It is a hunting light-weighted version of the Impulse. So the straight pull action from Savage. I had a Impulse loaner right as they were releasing it a couple of years ago, which I liked. I thought it worked surprisingly well and was very underrated. And Savage seems to be persisting with it. Excuse me, long day. Savage is persisting with it, and this version has a carbon fiber barrel and stock. The barrel is custom profiled for them from Proof Research. But still, if you see the barrel nut attaches to the barrel via attaches to the action with the normal for Savage way, and with a 22-inch barrel. This is, I think, also, I want to say 6.5 Creed. Might not be, but I thought it was 6.5 Creed or something along those lines. Gun, yeah, that's 6.5 Creed 1 and 8. Was 6.6 pounds, something like that. So perfectly reasonable with a scope that's not too heavy. That would be a very flexible rifle. And with a straight pull action, I did not have a particularly hard time moving it fast. So now the impulse action kind of likes to be manhandled. This is not an action you are going to cycle gently. But when you do it with some assertiveness, it works very, very nicely. Also at Savage, they have further iteration of their Savage 1911 guns. They had a couple there. They had 45s, I think, last year. This year, there were 9mm 1911s, 10 rounds. I shot one. It was nice. It was accurate. Everything was smooth. All the sharp edges were dehorned. The Contour G10 grips were pretty good. I gotta say that I like the Savage 1911, and I'm very happy to see that they're continuing to develop the Impulse product line. That's another look at that Savage with the carbon fiber stock and barrel and the Impulse action. Okay, another look at the same gun. If you different things from Savage, the one on the right, you can see this in the Magpul stock, is kind of like a scout range rifle type thingy. Picatinny rail. This one is a 308, 16-inch barrel, threaded muzzle. They, for some insane reason, they had it with a red dot sight. I do not know why, but they did. It was not as lightweight. It's a fairly beefy barrel, but it's had surprisingly decent balance. It would be kind of an interesting, oh, excuse me, kind of an interesting truck gun. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's the way they set it up. Um, it's kind of a longish rail, so you can use red dot conventional scope or a scout scope. The sights are from XS sights, which I was very happy to see. They make very, very excellent iron sights, much better than all that semi-buckhorn crap and stuff. But nice, short, handy bolt gun. I'm happy to see somebody do it. Spent a little bit of time at B&T. They revamped all of their suppressor line. A few new things with the guns. These are the ones you're looking at. These are the 223 guns. They were impressively soft shooting, but also quite heavy. B&T has their recoil buffer that has kind of a hydraulic component. It was pretty cool. I like the stock for both length of pull adjustment and cheek weld and all that. So kind of interesting guns. We shot some pistol caliber carbines at B&T, and while it's not my favorite type of firearm, it worked well. It was very soft shooting. The suppressors they had were very, very effective. So it attracted my attention a little bit. I'm probably not going to rush out and do too much with the B&T. I think as far as long guns go, what they have there, while very nice, is a little bit too heavy for what it is. They, just looking at it, having looked at it fairly carefully earlier today, I can kind of tell a few places it needs to go on a diet, but it works. Okay. This was a gun that I found extremely interesting and something I knew nothing about. I don't know if it's a new idea, or if they had it for a little while. This sign outside said recoilless rifle. And the company is Olympus Arms. Olympus Arms, was kind of a big deal when I was starting with ARs, and then they kind of melted away into obscurity a little, but clearly they still exist. Haven't seen much from them. And then there's this. So this is a large frame AR. It's kind of interesting. You shoot it, and there's a little bit of a push. You don't feel much recoil. And the way this sucker works, the way recoil system works and everything, the whole barrel, like in a machine gun, kind of moves back a little bit with the recoil impulse, so the bullet is out of the barrel before you feel any recoil, and the recoil is greatly, greatly, greatly decreased. I thought the idea was interesting and very clever. It's not clear to me how accurate it's going to be, but I can think of a couple of ways to make a system like this accurate. So time will tell, but this is another gun that would be very interesting for me to do an article on. It was not a super lightweight, but the recoil I felt was much milder than I should be feeling with a 3.8 to 6.5 Creed in a rifle of this weight. So that was interesting. Okay. The fading, I didn't think I'd be this tired. Maybe I'm just getting old. I think we got to stuff that wasn't necessarily from today. Yeah. Okay. You guys still with me? Yes, you are. So let me look a little bit at the names of a few companies and see what I remember from visiting them. I did not visit AGM. They have okay thermals, nothing special that I've seen. Maybe I'll talk to them during shot. Aimpoint has a new shotgun sight and other things, but otherwise nothing especially new. Armament, Ancient Data, they were there out in the long range section, but they don't have any new scopes for this year, and I already have the 735 Tangent that I'm quite impressed with. I'll issue a review when I'm done, but it's very expensive and very, very good. The outstanding feature really of the Tangent is how well it maintains its optical performance. even at the extremes of windage and elevation adjustment. And optical performance on axis is very, very good. And you go off axis and there's barely any deterioration. It's a little bit, but not much at all. Black Rain I missed, which is unfortunate. I did go and chat with Brownell, shot BRN 180, which shot okay, but I just don't like guns with reciprocating charging handles. They are discontinuing the optics line. Hopefully they will restart it in the future. They said they might, but it wasn't quite clear to me. Walked by KDX Defense, didn't look at that. Walked by Colt, don't care about Christensen's. Carbon Research is interesting. So Carbon Research, I don't think I took any pictures. My brother has. I'll post them up later. Carbon Research makes carbon fiber suppressors, right? Where most of the suppressors carbon fiber. There are a couple of things that are metal. Everything else carbon fiber. Those freaking things are freakishly light. On the other hand, I'm not convinced I want to be the guinea pig and test what it's going to take to blow up a carbon fiber suppressor. Ultralight wet's definitely appealing. It was just a very, very raw idea last year. Now they are basically ready to ship. So that was interesting. Diamondback firearms have the new little compact revolver with easily removable cylinder. Surprisingly nice trigger and very lightweight. 5738 special currently, and presumably 9mm and other stuff coming up soon since the cylinder is so easy to replace. It would be very trivial for them to make a 9mm cylinder, etc. Generally, I like Diamondback firearms. They're a good company. I've had good luck with them. All right, all these guys I missed. With Garmin, there were a couple of bored-looking people, but they have a new chronograph, and I need to look at that at some point. Oh, I don't think Glock had anything new. At least I didn't look. I went and visited Heckler and Koch. That was really interesting. HK generally takes the crown for the most for this year's Reg Day for by far the most unfriendly people there. At least there's one guy who was next to me. He just wanted me to go away and die somewhere. I don't think I've ever seen anybody this unfriendly at Reg Day. That was impressive. Henry repeating rounds we just talked about. I didn't really look too much. Just should have. I went and looked at Holosun. Holosun, they're friendly but incompetent. Like, they are trying to do these fusion devices, like a red dot with thermal, red dot with night vision, and a pistol weird device with thermal and red dot sights, and nobody knows how they work. Half of them don't work. The ones that sort of work, truly sort of work, everything is laggy and everything. And everything's always a prototype for the third year running, something like that. So I don't know. They do very good red dot sights, and when they're trying to do fusion devices, fusion sights that are a little more complicated, it doesn't look that. So far, I'm deeply unimpressed with their efforts. Let's just go with that. I didn't look at that. Integris is that rifle scope by Leapers that I completely skipped. I'll talk to them at the actual show if I have time. Kimber talked about. I had an interesting handgun. Laugo Arms, Laugo. It's made in the Czech Republic. It's this handgun that starts at like $3,900. Rammers and Twangers. Element Optics has just announced some laser rangefinders. Yes, they did. I have an appointment with Element on Wednesday morning, so I'm going to go spend time with them. They have a weapon-mounted laser rangefinder and the conventional one, and I think one binocular, two binoculars, something like that. One is much to fit nice on my Immersive 5-30. Love your reticle, by the way. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I would be interested to hear your thoughts on usability. So usability should be quite good. The little weapon-mounted laser rangefinder is probably going to be at its best on the Hyper 7. At least that's where I'm planning to use it. But I know where they get that little weapon-mounted laser rangefinder, so I know it works. So it should work. It should work well. It's a well-made device. Let's let's see, Lone Wolf Arms. So the only thing I looked at Lone Wolves was these Lone Wolves. Lone Wolf owns PWS. Um, the guys who created this new rifle. I talked about that in the beginning. I didn't look at anything else with Lone Wolf, but I already pinged the marketing people, and I am going to go and visit them. Let's see, what else did I look at there? Oracle Arms has another version of their nice handgun. Shoots very nicely. Beyond that, I don't know. It's a couple of grand. I'm not convinced it's worth a couple of grand for a little while. Like last year, Oracle Arms was all the rage, but it was malfunctioning. This year, it seems like they got that all worked out and everything functioned and worked well. There's nothing interesting there. Ruger. So the second American rifle Gen 2 shot very well, had a surprisingly nice trigger. I liked that quite a lot. Ruger is doing a very good job to restore Marlin. They had a couple of lever guns on 4570 and 3030. And a 37 mag. I shot the 3030. Trigger was good. Action was good. Stock to metal fit was excellent. I'm very happy to see Ruger slowly but surely restoring the Marlin product line and doing it the right way. Marlin was floundering a little bit. Then Remington bought Marlin and destroyed it within 9 months, like completely destroyed it. And after the Remington bankruptcy, Ruger picked up Marlin, and they are building them in their North Carolina plant. And they are just looking beautiful, well made, well executed, everything smooth. I just very excited that such an iconic name like the Marlin lever gun is alive and well thanks to Ruger. So Psi Optics was there, but there are no new optics this year. They have new reticles for the 1-6 that are very, very nice. Just a huge fan of that Psi 6 scope, SAI 6. If you've been here for a while, you know I like that scope. It's one of those designs where the total is much more than just the sum of the parts. Everything just works. Stag Arms. So Stag Arms is interesting. Stag Arms is owned by Aero Precision. I started talking about Stag Arms recently a little bit because I started testing the Stag Arms Pursuit rifle in 6.5 PRC, and so far the fucking thing's a hammer. It's mild-mannered, reasonable recoil, very flat, and accurate. It's just accurate. I only tried it with a couple of factory loads, the Nosler and the Hornady. Hornady is a little more accurate. They're both very, very good. So I walk into the Stag Arms thing on the range day, and the first thing I see is a bunch of lever guns. I'm like, oh. So I couldn't shoot them. They were just very early prototypes that wouldn't let us shoot, but they have a Stag Arms lever gun that looked pretty nice. They had a regular new woodstock one, and they had a tacticalized version with the handguard and all that. That I thought, in terms of ergonomics and action and the trigger, felt very, very good. It's lever gun is the last thing I would have expected from Stag Arms, but you know what? If they can make a nice one, I'm all for it. So that was very promising. If the quality I got with the pursuit bolt action is what they're gonna put into the lever gun, other lever gun manufacturers need to be concerned. It looked good. Tangent data I talked about. Walter I talked about. Winchester I talked about. Okay, I think that's the bulk of what I actually paid attention to this time around. So what are the big things? Well, that was really the stuff that started. It was nice to see the boombox in a shape where Q is actually willing to show it to people. So that's very cool. The new Lone Wolf PWS gun was the UXR. Was promising, really, really promising. And the Hammerly 22 Biathlon toggle action replacement switch barrel gun was really cool. A fair amount of cool stuff. This was, in terms of the interesting things to see, this was a better range day than last year, maybe better than the year before as well. On balance, I found nothing interesting that it was very much worth my time. Okay. Tomorrow is the start of SHTO proper, so tomorrow I'm going to try to do a live stream in the evening. I do not guarantee it after SHTO. I have a couple of people I need to meet for business purposes. So if I get back to my hotel room by 10 Pacific, maybe 10:30, I'm going to do a live stream. If it's after 10 Pacific, I'm probably going to jot down some notes and just go to sleep. So we'll see. We'll see how all of that. Pans out. All right, guys. I know there are a few of you here. It's a little bit shorter than I normally do at 40 minutes, but everything I can think of from the range day, I think I've got. If you have any questions, voice them now. And if not, I'm gonna bid you good night and go to sleep. I'm gonna stick around for a couple more minutes. If you think of anything else, please put it in the chat box, and I will try to address it the best I can. Okay. All right, where's my tea? Okay. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to assume that either we're good or you're furiously typing. And I'm going to quickly glance at my pictures, see if anything else jogs my memory. But if I were you, I wouldn't get your hopes up. I'm tired. Right. I'm not seeing anything just yet. All right. Late night. Quite. Yes, it is rather late night. Mr. Carbon-based Life is going to sleep as well. Good plan. So have you used the Hyper 7? What are your thoughts? Yes, I have the Hyper 7. I've played with it a reasonable bit. Hyper 7 is very clever. It is spectacular optically, and the fully dynamic electronic reticle is extremely clever. Together with this weapon-mounted laser rangefinder, I think it's extremely compelling. Hyper 7 is kind of a, until you look through it and use it a little bit, it doesn't sound like much, but I'm quite impressed. I'll have a full review sometime this spring, hopefully with the LRF. There's this company called Shmoocat. It's trying to convince me that praying is your best defense against gun-toting government too. Just pray like you did for your sick relative or friend that died. You can watch yourself die too. Or do we need the gun? Not entirely sure what to make out of this one. I don't know. I think that's a little bit too deep for me for this late at night. I'm going to ignore that. Okay. But Mr. Rammers and Twangers, so if you haven't had a chance to get your eyes on a Hyper 7, do so. It is very, very different, but the potential, is enormous. So keep that in mind. Okay. All right. With all that, gentlemen, I think I'm just going to go to sleep. I'll try to do this again tomorrow with the impressions from the first day of proper SHOT Show exhibit. So stay tuned. Okay, Mr. Schmookat is persisting with something to do with lying in the government. I don't know. I think I'm not going to get into that. Okay, thank you all, and good night. Talk to you tomorrow.